Welcome to Ecoclime Talks, where we explore ideas, innovations, and stories shaping Africa's sustainability journey. Today, we are honored to have Hamdiatu Ahassan, an inspiring young climate advocate and delegate of the UN Human Rights Office Youth Rights Academy. Hamdiatu represented the She Leads Climate Cohort and the African youth community in global dialogues, engaging on key topics such as climate justice, migration, human rights education, and the protection of human rights defenders. We'll be talking about her journey, the lessons from the UN Human Rights Academy, and how youth leadership can transform climate action in Africa. Okay, so let's start with your journey. What pushed you into advocacy?
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me such a wonderful platform to share my views. What pushed me into advocacy? Well, I'll say that the journey began way back when I was in basic school, or should I say junior high school. So we used to do extracurricular activities on Fridays, and used to do poetry, a lot of stuff, and then I used to go for a lot of programs. Any program that they invited me to, I used to be there, and I started joining clubs, Teen Talk Ghana, and what have you. So I started speaking up for people, speaking up on issues. That's where I started, and I even became a debater. And from there, I joined adolescent health ambassadors. I became an adolescent health ambassador, that's health advocate, and I was always posting about health advocacy. I was attending programs, I was inspiring people, I was doing outreaches with some of these communities. And then I proceeded to senior high school. I joined civic club. In fact, I was still active with some of these activities, and then I went to the university. That's when everything became big. And after I graduated, I joined Chilis and Plan Ghana, and they introduced me to a lot of amazing stuff, especially things that has to do with climate. I became a climate advocate during my university time because I studied materials engineering, and then part of it had to do with sustainability. We are creating new materials that are sustainable and environmentally friendly. So I thought, why not be an advocate? Because we are helping to clean up the environment, remove carbon footprints, and all of these things. So I joined She Leads, and I had the opportunity to be part of the She Leads climate cohort. So being part of the She Leads climate cohort means that I'll have to undertake a personal project on climate. So that's how I came by She Sustains Climate Initiative. So I'm one of the co-leads of She Sustains Climate Initiative. We educate people on climate education, sustainable agricultural practices, rainwater harvesting, tree planting, and then we do waste upcycling as well. So we have done a lot of these, and I have been supporting a lot of climate activities. Not only that, I've been doing community outreaches to underprivileged communities and what have you. So I've really come a long way. So I can say that I have over 9 years of advocacy experience, even though I'm so young, for that matter. So I'll say it's begun long ago. And what's pushed me is the passion. Is the fact that when you are helping people to get out of a situation, you feel so good about it yourself. And then helping people is what I've always wanted. Speaking up for people who can't speak up for themselves. Anyone who knows me knows that I speak up on issues that matters the most, issues that affect individuals in one way or the other. I'm always there, be it civic rights, be it climatic justice, anything of that sort, I'm always there. I've always been an activist, and I'll always speak up, and I'll always direct you to the right authorities so your concerns and plights will be met. Thank you.
Wow, that's very interesting. You've really come far, looking at how you started from a very early stage, and then at the university level transitioning into climate. You've really done well. Wow, that's very
Right.
interesting. Now let's talk about youth leadership in climate justice. How can African youth influence climate policy or local action?
So, the question, how can African youth influence climate action, right?
Yes, yes.
So, I'll say that Africa, we are really, really suffering a lot, and climate issues or climate change is not very far from us. In fact, this is something we see and feel each and every day, and it affects us. The sun is hotter, heat is harsher, the rain is unpredictable, and we have droughts. So this is something we feel, and it is only the youth or heirs who feel it the most, who should speak out and influence policies and what have you. So one thing I can say is that African youth have one of the strongest voices in the global climate movement.
Okay.
And our influence begins with understanding that we do not need to wait for permission to lead. We can drive change from the ground up through innovation, community action, and policy engagement, just like what I'm doing with the She Sustains Climate Initiative. First thing I'll say is that we must use our creativity and local knowledge to develop context-based solutions. So we are being affected by it. So we will know best how it should be solved for us to be better or for us to have a better environment. So, and we all know that Africa is full of young innovators, creating sustainable energy systems and recycling initiatives. And then we also have climate smart agriculture. You see, we are very smart. We have people who are into all these things, African people. So these small projects are powerful examples that local action can shape national policy. So basically, I'm saying that African youth can shape or influence climate action by engaging in the things I've mentioned, that's recycling initiatives, and then the climate smart agriculture, and then the innovation and all of these things. And then second, we can influence climate action by actively engaging in decision-making spaces. That's like joining youth climate councils, like how I've attached myself to a lot of groups, and then advocacy groups and what have you. So, and then we can also write policy briefs. We can write these, and then we can post it. We can present it to those who need to hear us, or even using digital platforms to raise awareness and hold leaders accountable. So if you've noticed on LinkedIn, I've spoken about climate issues on my status and speaking about climate. And anywhere I go, I speak about climate. So we can use our digital space to widen our voices and to push our voices forward. You see, when youth voices are visible and consistent, policies begin to reflect our realities. Yes, so I think another thing we can also look on is collaboration. Collaboration is key. So we need to build alliances with other climate advocates, people affected, people who can help, policymakers. That's between rural and then urban youth as well, students and professionals, activists and policymakers, just like what I've said. When we move together, our impact multiplies. And then lastly, I'll say that we should never underestimate the power of storytelling in education. That's sharing our experiences, the floods, the droughts, the innovations. All of these help humanize climate change and then inspire others to act. And let me add my very, very last thing. Aside from storytelling, we can also inculcate drama, or we can inculcate climate change in our drama. That's, you see, we have a lot of artists. We love art. One thing about African is that we love art. We are creative. We know how to give a very good drama. So in our stage performances, our poetry, our drama, our art, we can tell the story about climate change. We can input a section or a drama that has to do with climate. Like, we can amplify our voices and push climate action through art. Art. So that's the very last thing I'll say. Thank you.
Wow, that's very insightful. You did mention that the youth voices are powerful, but don't you think that, especially in Africa and then Ghana, don't you think that sometimes the voices of the youth are ignored?
Okay. I will say that for I'll agree and then I will not agree as well, because you have a point. Yes, absolutely. Youth voices are powerful, but it's true that many times they are ignored or not taken seriously. We are often invited into spaces for visibility, not for influence. Sometimes young people are brought into take the inclusion box, but not to actually shape decisions. However, I've learned that even when our voices are ignored, they still echo. Every time we speak up, organize, and take action, we shift the narrative a little. The truth is, systems don't change overnight, but consistent youth advocacy is forcing leaders to listen. That's why it's not just about being heard, it's about being strategic. We need to back our voices with data, community impact, and collaboration. When young people show that they understand the issues and then propose workable solutions and sustain momentum, it becomes harder to overlook us. So yes, our voices may sometimes be ignored, but silence is never the solution. Every bold statement, every local project, every youth campaign adds up to a collective effort that can't be muted.
Great, 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 great,
Yes.
great. Okay, now you were recently at the UN Human Rights Academy in Geneva. What was it like being among
Yes.
youths from across the globe? I mean, how did you feel?
What was it like being
Among youth from across the globe, how did you feel?
I would say that it was overwhelming. First I would say that I was the only Ghanaian in the room, but I wasn't the only African. Yes, I was the only Ghanaian. We have two or more Nigerians. We have two or more people from other countries, but then I was the only Ghanaian. So my voice was actually, I felt that my voice held power. So being among global youth, like at the Human Rights uh, Academy, was truly transformational, I'll say. It felt like being in a room full of hope, courage, and determination. Everyone came from different parts of the world, different languages, cultures, and realities, but we were all connected by one thing: the desire to make the world fairer, greener, and more just. So it was inspiring to hear how young people from conflict zones, like I had someone from Pakistan, yes, and someone from Gaza as well. So these are conflict zones. So it was really nice hearing their stories and how everything is affecting them, because the Human Rights Academy, it wasn't just about climate change, it was just about human rights in general, rights that has to do with everything. So I'll say that it's reminded me that advocacy doesn't have one face or one language. It's a global movement driven by passion and purpose. Personally, it was also humbling. I realized that even though we face different challenges in our countries, the struggle for justice and equality unites us all. It's made it's like honestly made me see that youth are not just beneficiaries of change, we are the change makers. The experience strengthened my confidence, broadened my perspective in a lot of things, and then reaffirmed my belief that when young people come together, we don't just discuss problems, we design solutions that can transform the future. And actually, when we were there, we had the chance to ask questions concerning our countries and what we are facing. So I think it was so inclusive, and then it was transformational, educative, and then everything it had to offer. Thank you.
Great. Indeed, we are the change makers. Any sessions that left a deep impression?
Come again.
Was there a particular session which left a very deep impression on you?
Yeah. I would say um the part where we were asked to pretend we should pretend or assume to have met the is it the prime minister or the highest personality in the UN. I've actually forgotten who it was because we were asked to pretend that have met a lot of high profile people from the UN. So we had Mr. Sovola acting like the prime minister or whoever. Then he asked us to have a conversation, strike a conversation with this high profile personality. So you raise up your hand, they'll call you, you get a chance to introduce yourself to him, to make a connection with him, and to book an appointment with him. So it was like everybody wanted that opportunity. And then I was among the luckiest people to have been called. In fact, I was the first person to have been called. That means I had to be sharp and I had to let him know the problem we are facing under 1 minute. And I had to find a way to get his contact. And I had to find a way to let him invest in us and to understand our situation. So I went out there and under 1 minute, I was able to strike a conversation with him and I was able to get him to understand our plight and then to come to our aid and everything. So that moment touched me. They were really training us to not let go of any opportunity because we understand that these high profile people are policymakers. These high profile people mostly do not have time. Like they will take your contact and then they'll not come tell them something and they'll forget because they have a lot of days. So you have to make it unforgettable. You have to find a way to make your voice be heard. So that particular session really touched my heart and it was so transformative. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so looking at the work you do here in Ghana, what lessons from the academy have you been applying in your work right now?
Okay, so when I went, we spoke, yes. So I think I spoke about art. Did you get that part?
No, please.
Yes. So I was saying that during my time there, we broke ourselves into various sessions. We have a session for climate change, and that's where I went to. And over there, we had a chance to voice out the problems we were facing, to be given advices on how to go about it when we come back. And there's this person called the Gift Shikere from Nigeria. She advised me that most people, when you try organizing a seminar or a talk, they don't mostly listen. So what you do is that you involve art into your sessions. Art that talks about climate change. If it's poetry, a poem will talk about climate change. If it is dance, the dance will talk about climate change. the drama will talk about climate change. Anything that has to do with art, it needs to talk about climate change. And after they are done entertaining themselves, you will come in with whatever message you have for them. So that way they'll be gingered up, they'll be able to listen. When I came back, I shared that with people. Not only that, we involved it in our various activities. And away from that, one lesson I learned was that you see, the people who contribute most to climate change don't even suffer like the poor people, because the rich people are the ones who contribute most to climate change. This is because they have the cars, and it releases fumes into the atmosphere. The big factories that releases toxic gases into the atmosphere, and we all know what that can do. And then we even have some of the bigger companies cutting down trees for furniture, cutting down vegetation for infrastructure and a whole lot of things. And when this problem arises, because they are rich, they are able to treat themselves. Some even fly themselves out of their countries to treat themselves. But the poor people who only throw rubbish away, we know even that one is very toxic to the environment. The poor people who does less, they suffer the most, and they don't even get money to treat themselves. So it affects the poor people. And this is what we are doing. When we go around, we educate those in the communities. In fact, some people never knew that throwing a pure water sachet away can contribute to something as huge as climate change. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. So we had to do a lot of work on them. We educated them. There was even a time just recently we used pure water sachet to sew a school bag.
Wow.
We taught them how to sew school bags. And then we can use pure water sachet to weave. And then this pure water sachet, we take it from the community itself. We let the small children go around and pick every pure water sachet from the community. Bring it. We call the seamstresses from the communities to come and sew their bags and then give it to the students. So that's a way to reduce waste.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So we are teaching them to do their part. And for the industries, we are advocating and we are speaking about safer industrial processes. We are educating them to use clean energy. Do you understand?
Yes.
So because the industry people, we believe that they are much more educated. So they'll be able to understand that leaving carbon footprints is very dangerous. So we are advocating for clean energy use. And then we are encouraging innovation that will reduce carbon emissions and footprints. So this is what I learned and what I'm applying so far.
Great. Right. Now let's move on to challenges and opportunities. I know that youth activism isn't without challenges. What are some of the challenges you faced, and how do you navigate limited support or recognition?
Okay. Some challenges and barriers in my advocacy work and how I can curb it. Okay, so the very first thing anyone will talk about is the limited resources. Yeah, and funding. That's the first thing, because I think if you are volunteering, you see, people mostly think that if you are volunteering, you don't have any cost or you don't use any resources, because you are traveling to communities. You are hiring chairs for them to sit, or maybe a venue. You are sending other volunteers. So the fuel, the food when you go, and also the resources you buy and go and train them, everything. So And not only that, we also know that many young advocates have brilliant ideas but struggle to bring them to life because of financial constraints. And then it can be discouraging when you want to implement community projects but lack the necessary support. And to curb this, I've learned to leverage partnerships and apply for small grants and collaborate with organizations that share similar goals. Working collectively often opens doors that individual efforts cannot. You see, if NGOs or organizations cannot, sponsor you, but then you have your peers, you have people in the communities who are educated and then they will support your cause. You can go to someone, oh, this particular person, or I want to do this project, and then you have this particular skill or you have this particular resources. Can you help me? So that person can help, like peer-to-peer helping and partnerships, and these things are very critical to curbing funding and then resources. Another challenge is access to decision-making spaces, just like what we said, the voices of young people not being heard. So sometimes the youth are invited to events for representation, but not given real influence to policy decisions, just like what I said. Yes, but to overcome this, just like I said, we should make sure to build credibility through consistency and then showing results from our work, using data to back our points, and then maintaining professionalism so that our contributions are respected and considered. So there's also the challenge of community awareness and then engagement. You see, not everyone understands why climate change or human rights matter, especially in local contexts where daily survival is the focus. And I can remember a time when we went to one of the schools to talk about climate change on the She Sustains initiative. We were talking about climate change, sustainable agricultural practices, and rainwater harvesting. In fact, we even sent a resource person from Ministry of Food and Agriculture. But guess what? We only went to talk about climate change, but even a teacher, a male teacher, stood there to say that, oh, we are coming to influence the ladies. So they will have broken homes and broken marriages. Meanwhile, we'll go and maintain our marriages. But what we came to say had nothing to do with marriages. So they are always, sorry to say, shallow-minded when it comes to ladies undertaking projects. So they think that we are coming to empower females so that they wouldn't be brainwashed and gaslighted into like undermining their own human rights. So we get reluctance from community members. They think that whatever you are coming to tell them is rubbish, and the fact that if you don't give them money, they are not going to listen to you. They are not coming to sit down and listen to you. Yeah, they don't want you to empower the females so that they can become better people. So to address that, we always try to simplify complex issues and then connect with them to everyday life and use storytelling to make people see how global issues affect local realities. Do you understand? So this is a problem always had. So we always need people within the society or someone they can relate to tell a story to make them see the severity of the situation. And then finally I'll talk about burnt out and self-doubt. Yeah, that can be a personal barrier. You see, advocacy can be emotionally draining, especially when change feels slow. I'm learning to practice balance, taking breaks, surrounding myself with like-minded people, and celebrating small wins along the way. At times, you go to a particular community to advocate. If you do not take care, they'll beat and kill you there because they think you are coming to liberate the girl child. In fact, I've heard stories from other advocates, like they went there, they were forcing a small child to get married, and then they went there, they were trying to educate them, they were trying to get the child out of there, but they used family and it's their culture to drive away these people. They even tried harming them. When it comes to things like this, you have to put yourself first, go back, think strategically, and come. Yes, because if you joke, you lose your life in advocacy. So I think that is a barrier because the people don't want the stereotypes to break. Yes. So in summary, the key to overcoming these challenges lies in collaboration, consistency, communication, and care. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Your last words. Your advice to young listeners.
Young listeners in
Yes,
Ghana.
your advice to them.
Okay. So advice, I have a lot of things to say, but let me be brief with whatever I want to say. So to every young person in Ghana listening to me right now, you have a voice and it matters. Don't wait to be old, richer, or more experienced before you act. The truth is, leadership starts from wherever you are with whatever you have. Start small. Join a local cleanup, plant a tree, volunteer, or speak up about issues that affect your community. These small actions may seem simple, but together they create impact. Like they always say, little drops of water make up a mighty ocean. Everyone cannot do bigger things for everybody in this world at the same time, but at least each of us can do something for at least one person. And then also, don't let fear or doubt silence you. You might feel like your voice doesn't count, but remember that every movement that changed the world started with someone who refused to stay silent. Use your social media, your talents, your education, whatever tool you have to advocate for what's right. Surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you and never stop learning. Seek opportunities like youth programs, mentorships, and trainings that help you grow. Most importantly, believe that you are part of the solution. Ghana and Africa needs young people who dream big, think differently, and act boldly. The future isn't waiting for us. We are the ones shaping it. We are the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hamdia. This is Ecoclime Talks, where we explore ideas, innovations, and stories shaping Africa's sustainability journey. Thank you for joining, or thank you for listening to us. Hamdia, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay. Thank you.